what is personal branding? So one thing that definitely happens in your life, no matter who you meet, where you go on earth, based on the brief interaction that you have with people, they form an image of you in their mind subconsciously. They perceive you in some way that they continue to perceive you with until and unless you show them otherwise, right? So personal branding is the effort, is the conscious effort that you put in to change how effectively people perceive you, whether it's in a good way or whether it's in a bad way. It's you realizing that you can somehow leverage your image in front of other people, changing how they perceive you, and putting in effort to make sure that you are perceived the way you want to be perceived. Now, whether it is as a good person, whether it is as a not nice person, whether it is as a person who comes across as strict, stern, a person who is attentive, enthusiastic, a person who is dedicated, loyal, or any such thing. Well, every aspect of your life, no matter, as I said again, no matter how brief your interaction is with another person, they will form this one image of your life. Whether it's with your local chai wala or whether it's campus mart, it could be as simple as saying thank you to the guy, to the uncle at the food court, if you're in RR campus, at the food court or at the hostel bakery, and him forming this perception of you that you are one of the nice kids out of all the kids at PS campus that he's, giving food to, or people who he's serving. So yeah, personal branding, the conscious and intentional effort to create and influence public perception of an individual by positioning them as an authority in their industry, elevating their credibility, differentiating themselves from the competition, to ultimately advance their career, increase their circle of influence, and have a larger impact. So basically, personal branding is sort of setting the foundation of who you are, what you stand for, what you are capable of, and why people should pay attention to you. So these four things: who you are, what you stand for, what you are capable of, and why people should pay. Why should people pay attention to you? All right. So these four things could essentially be what personal branding is: marketing yourself. So now we have a video, a brief history on personal branding by William Arruda, who is considered to be the father of personal branding itself. So, yeah.
Kiriti, I guess there's no volume.
Yeah, Kiriti, you're not sharing your audio.
What I wanted to tell you a little bit about the history of personal branding. There are people who believe that I'm the person who came up with the term personal branding, and I did not. It was Tom Peters. In 1997, he told us that in the future, if you want to be successful in your career, you need to do the same things that companies do when they're building their brands so that you can build your own brand. And that day when I read that article, I decided I was going to start the first ever personal branding company. There was absolutely no business in personal branding. Zero. And so I was kind of there by myself, and I was like, I know it's going to be something, it's going to be great. And years later, essentially this incredible convergence of downturns in the economy, social media, incredible war for talent, and all these things came together, and organizations started to really embrace the concept of personal branding. And I actually started being met with people who were really excited about this concept of helping people figure out what makes them great and using it to deliver value for their career, for their teams, and their organizations. And now the rest is history. Personal branding is pretty much something that's being done all around the world.
So yeah, this is a video that he gave out in the late 2000s. Yeah, so continuing, why exactly personal branding, right? So as he said, since then, it has become a very vital part of today's industry, whether it is going for a recruitment process in a placement cell at our very own college, or whether it's going to off campus, like going to a company and asking them for internships or any projects you can take up, applying for offline or abroad programs or whatever it is. They first do a background profile check on you. So your personal branding should ensure that the way you market yourself has clearly elucidated all different points and aspects about yourself, what you are good at, slightly less at what you are bad about, but you should definitely be humble, of course. What you are good at, what have you done to prove that you are good at it, and what else can you do, right? So yeah, why personal branding with respect to entrepreneurs, freelancers, as well as future employees. So the first one is trust and authority. So when you show someone, when you market yourself in such a way that you are showing someone you have done something with the skills that you have, it's equivalent to saying I'm a great cricket player and I have a ton of trophies in my cabinet. Let them just sit there collecting dust, right? Yeah, you would rather put them on a proper showcase at the front of your home, probably in the living room, so that every person that comes by knows that that interest is piqued, or their curiosity gets piqued by looking at those very trophies and asks you about them. So you have that sort of authority established. So you have that sort of authority established, that trust established, that you have done something previously in that field. So it's not just enough if you go through courses, if you complete courses, or if you do projects. It's more about how you leverage the fact that you have completed those projects and how you portray your portfolio or your personal information in such a way that it comes out to be as great as possible. So it can differentiate you from the rest of the others. So getting featured in the media is the next one. This is, of course, a byproduct of something that happens due to personal branding. It shouldn't be your primary goal, but yeah, getting featured in the media is definitely something very important. A personal example from my life would be one of my seniors. He's a senior to me by 4 years. So when I was in school, he was in 12th grade when I was in 8th grade. And this person was just an amazing intellectual and a very nice person in general. So he, at the age of 16 itself, had set the record in India in the Limca Book of World Record, in the Limca Book of Records, for the smallest bipedal robot. All right, and he broke that very same record again at the age of 18. So the fact that not only did he break this record, but his father and his father and the school made an attempt to reach out to various media outlets, and the Limca Book of and the Limca authorities themselves contacted TV9 and have had this kid personally interviewed at his home and demonstrating what he had done. So this was a huge plus point on his portfolio when he was applying for abroad universities, and he stood out very immediately, right? So of course you're going to prefer a person who has some valid experience and who has been accredited in a sense by other people, whether it's media outlets, whether it's in the form of an article or any such thing. So if there's some sort of coverage on you, that definitely shows that you have done something with what skills you have, and your projects out there are actually good, right? The next thing is building your network. All right. So building your network is a very important aspect of personal branding, right? So you don't just create your LinkedIn profile or your Instagram profile or write articles without actually spreading them and getting connected to like-minded individuals. Getting connected to like-minded individuals should be one of the main thought processes that goes on in your head, because connecting with like-minded individuals gets you that extra edge, right? Now, whether it is in our very own college, going and speaking to the professor who is in charge of the VLSI, head of VLSI. His name is Kaustav Bhaumik in the ECE department. Now, I have a particular interest towards electromagnetism, right? Of course, I don't pay much attention in his classes, but I have a particular interest towards electromagnetism and magnetic monopoles. So I just approached to him on a random day out of nowhere, just because I felt like, maybe he could help me out in this field. And he was like, and when I went and approached him in his, after the class ended, of course, when I approached him, he was like, this is actually very good, considering the fact that I'm approaching DRDO for a funding for another project of mine, which could definitely help you gain a better insight with you working under me or working with me, gain a better insight into what these different principles are, and possibly continuing into research. So building your network is a very important aspect. If your friends don't know who you are, I'm pretty sure your friends of course do not know who you are. So get your word out to your friends. Ask them in helping you to get word out to their friends, whether it's sharing via an Instagram story, whether it's commenting or liking or sharing on your LinkedIn profile or whatever it is. Attracting more clients. So once you have established a personal brand, setting out who you are, showing out to the world who you are, what you are capable of, you are giving an open invitation to people to come and look for you. So there's a difference between the placements that go on in our campus, where you go hunting for jobs, and when you set up your own personal brand, and when jobs come hunting for you. Companies would come looking for you if you have a strong and established authoritative figure in the industry at whatever age it may be. You do not need to have a very high position or anything of sorts. Moreover, if you are established in the sense that you have proven yourself worthy or have accredited yourself by publishing in some journal or some research article in general, people will look for that. Suppose, so one important thing for you, I would say, is Google yourself, right? Firstly, Google yourself to understand where you stand and what is shown when you Google yourself, when you Google your name, right? So surprisingly, one of the instances when I Googled myself was not my profile that came up, not my LinkedIn profile, of course. I didn't have a LinkedIn profile recently, but one of the most surprising things that came up was my Pinterest profile. I mean, Pinterest is something that I use to save artwork, right? Creative artwork and infographics, and something that really, helps me look at and enjoy as a piece of art, or whether it's something as a stress buster or something. So my Pinterest profile was the first thing to come up when I Googled my name or when I Googled my user ID or my email. So is that really the first thing that I wanted to show up when someone Googles my name? Definitely not. I want a list of my works if possible, or I want a link that redirects people to who I am, again, my personal brand, and inform them more about what I can be, who I can be, and what I can do, right? So that's attracting more clients. The next would be premium pricing. So the good thing about personal branding is once you set out a personal brand, right, you have all the permissions or all the rights to request more from people, whether it is a hike in your salary in the future, whether it is charging an excess price for any service that you're giving to people. It is simply because you have proven yourself. Again, this all depends upon how you brand yourself, how you market yourself out there, as was raised by Matangi and Vibhav. So yeah, next is creating a lasting platform. So once you establish a personal brand, right, one thing is it does not stop there. This can diverge into two ways. So once you establish a personal brand, you have two parts in your life, right? One is the employer part, one is the employee part. Now, most of us tend to go down the employee path and somehow later on pick up a startup and then go to the, eventually come to the employer part, right? But if you're starting on the employer part directly, your personal brand helps in boosting that aspect of your life, right? So your personal brand shows that you're not only interested in these things that you're doing, but but you're setting up future goals, and you're setting up certain precedents that can help you in achieving your future goals, right? Whether it is your startup and you're doing something. Another example from my life would be my friend who's the head of CODS right now. His name is Abhilash, and he's immensely interested and enthusiastic and very knowledgeable as well in the field of data science and machine learning. So what he did was not only did he set up this community of data science in our college, but he also started his own company, his own startup called Kirtle Technologies, which is right now under PVL, funded by PESU Venture Labs. So you get to carry on something that existed from your personal name and link it with whatever this thing you want to create as a huge company name. As in the case, as elucidated by William Arruda itself, companies look more towards the concept of personal branding in a similar way as they branded themselves as companies, right? So yeah, moving on, we have a very interesting talk about the importance of personal branding by Brian Tracy. I will be interjecting in the middle and asking you guys questions or your opinions on the same.
Always begins for your product or service and argue less. A brand always begins with your values. What do you stand for? Quality, excellence, responsiveness, teamwork, innovation, leadership. Then, when you're clear about these, you build a tremendous personal brand by starting with the principle of integrity. There's no better reputation you can have other than for people to say that when they do business with you, you always fulfill your promises. The answer for success is to do what you've been hired to do and do it now. This expands into every area of your interactions with others. Here's the rule. Everything counts. Everything that you do either creates and builds your brand or weakens and destroys your brand. Everything counts. So let's look at the 8 laws of branding. The first law of branding is the law of specialization. It means that you have to focus your brand on one area of achievement. You cannot be all things to everyone. You can choose to specialize either in your line of work, your product, your company or industry, the media, your community, etc. But you have to be focused like a company. You have to be able to describe you. The second law is the law of leadership. You have to be recognized and acknowledged as one of the most knowledgeable, respected, or skilled people in your field. So one of the things you ask yourself is, where do I want to be a leader in my field? The third law of branding is the law of personality. Your brand must be built around your personality in all its aspects, including flaws. Now, here's a question for you. What would be the best personality brand for you to have? Here's an example. The Australian who wrestles crocodiles. If you wanted people to describe you in a particular way, what would be a good way for them to describe you? The next law is the law of distinctiveness. Once you have created your personal brand, you have to express it in a unique way. For example, I knew a woman who sends a thank you card with a dried flower inside. When you open it, it falls out. That little sort of thing is what makes people remember her for months and even years after meeting her. Maybe you will sign your name in a particular way or dress in a particular style. I know another person who always wears red. So how can you be distinctive and stand out from all of your competitors? The fifth law is the law of visibility. To be effective, your personal brand must be seen repeatedly and consistently. When you form a brand, in a way, you're getting into show business. If you're not out there talking to people, networking, getting involved, it doesn't do you any good. So be out there where people see you all the time. Very often, people will hire you, buy from you, recommend you for no other reason than they have seen you around a lot. The sixth law is the law of utility. Your behavior behind closed doors must match your public brand. It's completely destroying of a person's brand to find out that he or she is mean to people in private. One of the greatest brand claims you can get is that people say that you are always the same on the outside as you are on the inside. The next law of branding is the law of persistence. Once you've established your personal brand, give it time to grow. Stick with your brand and ignore fads, trends, changes. In other words, be consistent all the time. The final law of branding is the law of goodwill. The more you are perceived as well-intentioned or embodying valued ideals, the more influential your brand will be. Have a positive personal brand that people look up to and admire. Here's what you do. We call this back from the future thinking. Ask yourself, if 3 years from now, if they were going to do a study on me and come back with a report on the kind of person I was, the way I treated other people, how people talked about me, my reputation, and my position in the hearts and minds of others, what words would I want them to use? Of all the words that they could use, what would be the one word that would help you more than anything else in your field? It's really a work of brilliance to pick a word that will be your leading attribute. What word should people use to describe your superb brand? The next step is asking yourself, what could I do differently from now on so that people think of me like this all the time? Remember, a brand is a promise you make. It's saying that if you interact with me, get involved with me, buy from me, sell with me, go out with me, and so on, this is the kind of person that you will get. This is the kind of person that you will experience.
Okay, yeah. So after understanding different concepts of personal branding, I thought you should have a look at different eminent personalities who are clearly amazing successes in the field of personal branding, right? So firstly, we have the almighty godfather himself, Elon Musk. I mean, yeah, as you can read, Elon Musk's name is almost as well known as Coca-Cola itself. There's no nook and corner of the earth where you haven't heard the name Elon Musk. It's very hard. And one interesting fact, a few interesting facts actually. So Elon Musk, it's very hard to find a picture of his on any one of his websites, right? Whether on any one of his company websites, whether it's Tesla or Hyperloop or the Boring Company or SpaceX, you cannot find a single picture of his simply because his brands are recognized by him, right? So before you knew what Tesla was doing, you knew about this quirky individual, this enigmatic, charismatic person known as Elon Musk, who always believed that he was going to change the world, right? We always, most of us here would have seen his interview when he was questioned about how he felt when his very own idols, Neil Armstrong and as such, rejected his idea and in fact trashed upon his idea when he proposed that he wanted to commercialize spaceflight, right? And how dejected he was at that very, we could see it in his eyes. Right? So we saw this person as a mad scientist of sorts, coming up with these crazy ideas and crazy, ambitious things to change the world, to help the world in a better place, to make it a better place, right? So I think another example I would give is, so when a lady in an interview asked him, why did you, she didn't ask him as such, she stated in another interview that Elon Musk is one of the people who's doing companies to make money, who's doing startups to make money, right? But that is completely wrong. Elon Musk, Tesla was not profitable until 3 years or 2 years back, right? Tesla was running under huge losses, tremendous losses. In fact, the company was in debt. And Elon had to put in 16 hours, 18 hours a day, travel to different states, morning one flight, night one flight, come back and sit at the factory, make sure everything's going on, and hustled every single day to come to be known as this person who is a maniac, who is dedicated to what his vision is. And he brought it to where it's standing today, right? Tesla is one of the companies that have made him the richest man in the world, right? And he simply in general terms, he does not give two shits about whether he was the richest man on the earth or not. And so forth, this lady, when she said that, he started Tesla, SpaceX, the Boring Company, and as the like for making money, he simply gave a very, good answer saying that if I wanted to make money, I would have made just another internet company, right? Just like he had PayPal, he would have, it's not very hard for a genius like him of sorts to come up with something just to make money. But no, he's doing it for a reason as such. But yeah, so yeah, Elon Musk is one such individual. You know his companies because of him, as I say again. You know his companies because of Elon Musk. You do not know Tesla because, you do not know Elon Musk because of Tesla. You know Tesla because of Elon Musk, right? That kind of an individual. Moving on, Gary Vaynerchuk. Yeah, could one of you unmute if you have ever seen one of Gary Vee's videos, motivational talks on YouTube, if you ever were depressed with life or something or the other? Because this person, this amazing individual, who's the owner and the founder of V Media, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, V Media. So he posts out this inspirational content, motivational content, and also handles marketing for different influencers. So have one of you come across Gary Vaynerchuk whenever you are surfing YouTube or any such thing. Unmute and just go ahead. I'm guessing that's a no. Okay. Yeah. All right. So either way, if you get depressed with anything in your life, if you feel your DA assignments, it's specific to the CS kids. If you feel that your assignments, your CNN assignments, your MPCA assignments, and your DA assignments are too much trouble and they're making you depressed, go Google, go YouTube Gary Vaynerchuk. If it's the ECE kids, EMFT DSP. I do not know what is the case for mech, civil, and biotech kids, but I just hear there's a sad story with biotech kids, if there are any over here, that you guys have to come to college 4 days in a row. So if that isn't depressing as enough as it is, just go ahead and dive into the huge plethora of videos uploaded by this amazing individual that is Gary Vaynerchuk. Again, he marketed himself in such a way that motivational videos arise from him, right? He was the entire concept of leveraging platforms like YouTube and other social media to inspire people to become better versions of themselves, right? Themselves. So that's one very important thing, Gary Vaynerchuk. Moving on, Tony Robbins is an oldie. He was the one who used to give talks when my dad was, in his 30s earlier, like 10 years back, 15 years back. And this was an enigmatic and a powerful person. Like you could see him come on stage and just shout all day long. And for his huge, grotesque figure, right? You would think that would be good of him, right? But this person just shouted all day long and got people on that feet. Now, you know what it is like when you go to an IT company or a conference and you see all these typical uncles working over there in the IT companies with their fat bellies and the samosas in their hands and just chilling, not giving a damn about the world and too lazy to do anything. So Tony Robbins was the man that you called to get the enthu in these different cutlets. So enthu cutlets is a term that I use for very overly enthusiastic people. So yeah, he was the person that put the word enthu in enthu cutlets, right? So he was this amazing personality. Wherever he went, energy followed him. Of course, that also sort of led him to realize that the millennials and our group of people aren't exactly good with that kind of stuff. So he mellowed down a little bit. He's mellowed down now, and you can more of him. You can more see him now as a person who has his thoughts collected. He's calm and he understands different ways to approach and encourages people to do whatever they want in their life. Right? He's amazing. The way he set out his personal brand is truly stupendous. Right? Last, Billie Eilish. I mean, you guys, everyone knows her. Whether it is for her quirky dressing sense, her hairstyle, her music, her grunge music, you know, somewhere or the other, you have heard of this young girl. She is known for her quirky attitude, whether it is not giving two shits about what she does and about her public appearance and doing what she wants, saying what she wants to say, collaborating with whoever she wants to collaborate. She has set that image out there for herself, right? She has gone out there. She has worked with her brother Phineas. They have won numerous Grammy Awards. In fact, they won it by a landslide. So you see this. In fact, I'll just show you a video of one thing that goes with what she does, right? So Billie Eilish has this website even now. So on her website, her shopping website where she sells her apparel and stuff, she had a personal augmented reality tour of her room going on online. And it was a pretty cool thing. I'll let you guys watch right now. There's no volume to this video, that's me. So you see every aspect of Billie Eilish is compiled and put together, and this is the practical representation of how she lives, where she lives, right? You get to experience what Billie Eilish is in her room. Complete, setting or tone for the I don't give a fuck attitude of our generation is she's the embodiment of that, right? She is the complete, authoritative figure who goes ahead with that. So yeah, I guess that's enough about her room. Now, yeah, another thing that I forgot to bring up when I was speaking about Elon Musk is how he had, when his this thing was working, when he was on Insta, how he had 3 times more followers than his company pages. That is Tesla, SpaceX, Hyperloop, and the Boring Company combined. He had 3 times more followers. And that is how he set up his personal brand, of course. Now, another eminent personality in the world is the head of Virgin Group. His name is Richard Branson, all right? So he's pretty much a live example. So one of the 8 laws of branding were consistency, right? So he is very much consistent with what he posts to make sure people are always drawn and visit his posts. And he's always keeping up with the new trends, right? So you see, he has 4.2 million followers, right? It's not a very small number. I don't follow him, of course, but yeah, 4.2 million followers. And his Virgin Group of Company page has only 209,000 followers. So you see that huge gap in which he set himself apart, where his company brand does now has to rely on his personal brand, his expertise of leveraging his social media handles, whether it is these social media handles or his personality in the public world, his appearance, and how he can connect better with the people due to the mass following that he has among the different people. So yeah, Richard Branson is one of those people who has put himself out there, even though he is sort of like a boomer. He put himself out there to, achieve this kind of status. Whether it is as a motivation speaker, a public figure, a person who helps people, you can read in his bio, he's known as Dr. Yes at Virgin, right? So this is something that he idealizes, that most of us should idolize him about. There's nothing he says no to, no matter how small an idea is. And it's one thing I want you guys to remember as well as you go on and further in your life. No matter how small or how annoyingly, easy the idea may come across to you, if you think or if you believe that that idea can somehow change the world, stick with it. Be persistent. Do not reject it for the simple matter of fact that you took feedback from some other person, whether it is your friend or not. Do not take feedback from do not account into feedback from that person that the idea is not good at all. You have a better understanding of what your idea is than that other person, right? No matter how much you try to explain, you will always end up having a better understanding of what your idea is, simply because it's your thought process that was put behind it. And no two humans are the same. So your thought process is what accumulated into that idea. And if you believe you can change the world with that one small idea, go ahead, stick with it. Do not reject it. If in fact you do receive negative feedback from other people, take it as constructive criticism, right? There's nothing that will harm you. So yeah, going ahead, how can you build your personal brand? A 5-step process. So the most integral part, the core of why you're building of how you build your personal brand is why you're building a personal brand, right? Why do you want to build your personal brand? Do you want to set it up for a future startup that you may come up with? Do you want to put out your portfolio out there for companies to recruit you? Do you want to make yourself seem as an avid traveler, blogger, reader, writer, poet, or any such thing, right? Whether it is gaining more customers or whether it is marketing a product, you should simply have that one set idea in mind as to what you want to accomplish by setting up a personal brand, right? Next thing, take control of your pie. In this case, pie stands for performance, image, and exposure. Now, unless and until you have your performance under control, how you go about executing different things, learning new skills, acquiring different internships, projects, funding, or whatever it is, your performance is set up your personal brand, right? What comes next into picture is your image, right? How you portray yourself. So your performance, as I said earlier, as I quoted the example of having trophies in your cabinet room and letting them just collect dust, that's really not ideal at all. If you have achieved something, if you're performed something with the best, to the best of your abilities, with your utmost capabilities, put it out there, right? Create this image of yourself that you want people to see that you have done this so and so stuff. Third thing is exposing yourself to other instruments, right? Now, it's not just enough if you put yourself out there. It's more about learning what other people have to offer as well. So you get a better idea about how you have to conduct yourself, or how you have to change up, or make small changes to your LinkedIn profile based on what other people are doing to get a better edge when people. So suppose taking the example of placements, right? Now, suppose they ask you for your LinkedIn profile on your resume, and they receive 1,001 applications from different people across India or across the campus itself, they are simply not going to read through your entire resume. They will first and foremost open your LinkedIn profile. You need to make sure your LinkedIn profile, again, this is a tip that I'm sliding in just between the webinar. You need to make sure your LinkedIn profile is readable within 30 seconds, simply because that person will not give two shits about your profile after 30 seconds. If you have something that's hidden in one separate corner, it is not going to help you, my friend, simply because he's not going to have the patience to look at something there. So make sure your best things are the ones that are portrayed on top. You know what your best, what your achievements are, right? Your top-notch achievements, the cream of the whatever the saying is. But yeah, you get my gist. You get the gist, right? So whatever the best thing that you have done, make sure it's visible. The image is set up. Your image is set up in such a way that there leaves no gap for them to sort of question your capabilities in that specific field, whatever specialization you take up. Next would be finding your brand story and creating your brand framework, right? So you need to find a way to approach how you're creating your personal brand, right? Whether it is, now take in case the example of a startup. Now, when you're creating a startup with a social cause, you need to portray your startup in as connected to the social cause and to the people as much as possible, right? Otherwise, people are just, it's sort of going to be like one of the scandals or the scams that we come across on daily TV. Everyone's going to see it once, twice, thrice, 10 times maybe. After 3 months, everyone's going to forget about it, right? Not unless you have a story behind it. People remember stories. When you explain to people with certain connections that help them relate better as human beings or as individuals or as specialists in a certain field to that specific aspect of your startup or what you are offering, it just betters your abilities to capture that person's interest, right? That person is definitely going to go ahead far on later in life. I think one example from my life would be a friend of mine in the EC campus. She likes listening to Selena Gomez song. So anytime I hear it on the radio or something, I immediately think of her name. And yeah, I'd be like, oh yeah, dude, she really loves Selena Gomez song. And like, yeah, so these are some things that you always have to come up with a story to connect the different dots and to help better your case in front of the people or when you expose yourself to other guys, right? So yeah, next is assessing your personal brand as it stands today. So yeah, one of the crucial things you need to do is after this webinar, Google yourselves, right? Find out what is the first thing that shows up when you Google yourselves. Is it the same thing that you want to show up, that you hope would show up if a recruiter tomorrow Googled you, right? If it is not, then work towards changing it. The Google algorithm can change depending upon how you portray yourself out there, right? Again, it depends upon the third aspect of your pie, which is your exposure. So yeah, assessing your personal brand as it stands today is a vital concept and a very important aspect of how you go about building your personal brand, right? Knowing where you stand as of now, so you can predict how to go and what steps to take, how you will stand 2 years later, where you want to set your goal. If you have no clear view of the footing you are standing on, you will not have an idea of how much elevation you need to gain further to reach a specific height, right? You will simply not have that idea. So next thing, sharing your brand story with the world. Given the fact that we live in the digital age today, our profiles are so open to different people that you do not need to meet a person even before they start judging you, right? If a person comes across you on someone's story, suppose say on Instagram, if they come across you on a person's story, if you're tagged on a person's story, and if they just feel like, you know what, I'm bored today, why don't I check this person's profile out? And if yours is a private profile, as is mine, so they check your bio, right? If you have no bio at all, they're going to start judging you on that. If you have a bio, they're going to start judging you on what your bio said. So if you have a school name, for example, if you have Cottons, which is the school name, which is the school I belong to, Bishop Cotton Boys School. So if you came from Cottons, they would form this mindset, oh no, dude, this guy's a cocky dude. All Cottonians are terrible people. But you do not know unless you actually interact with that person, right? So you got to make sure that whatever you portray yourself as again, personal branding comes into play, right? You need to make sure how you want people to perceive you, and you make, to the best of your efforts, you send out, whether it is forwarding WhatsApp messages, getting people to share your Instagram stories, cold mailing other people as well. Cold mailing is an important process when you're when you're coming up with your startup and trying to get funding and other such. All right. So moving on, what you should do. So these are 7 key aspects on how you should go about building your personal brand, right? Previously, I showed what are a 5-step process on how to build your personal brand. These 7 qualities are required as a person to show that you are authenticate in nature, right? To show that you have something to portray as a personal brand. If you simply do not have one quality of you, then you're just not capable enough, right? So yeah, first is do your research first. You have to be pretty knowledgeable, right? Well, the first law of branding as given by Brian Tracy was specialization, right? You have to be pretty knowledgeable in what you're doing. So select a specific thing that, focus completely on it. Focus whatever your interest is, right? Set apart other, I wouldn't call them distractions, but other subsidiaries, and try to put in as much time and effort as possible to building yourself in that specific field, right? Because that, in the end of the day, at the end of the day, that is what will separate you from the rest of the others. Next is being accessible and visible, right? Whether it is your LinkedIn profile or whether it is your Instagram account or whatever it is, you need to be visible, right? Again, as I said, Googling yourself gives you a better idea of how visible you are, how accessible you are, how reachable you are by different people. Giving out your email as such on an Instagram post or on your bio saying you can contact me here, or replying. More importantly, I cannot stress this enough. People set up their LinkedIn profiles and forget about them. Even I am one of those guys. I forget about my LinkedIn profile half the time, and every 3 months once I check the messages and then I reply. By that time, opportunity would have come, open the door, close the door, gone. So it does not make any sense. Be accessible. So if you give someone an access point towards you, a contact point towards you, make sure you constantly check that contact point and reply if anything comes up, right? Third one, be an expert. I cannot stress this enough. Being an expert is very important in your field, simply because, so there's a saying, right? All of us have heard the saying, jack of all trades, master of none. But of course, there's 2 sides to that saying. The entire saying is jack of all trades, master of none is always better than a master of one, right? Becoming an expert in your field simply relies on the fact of how persevered you are, dedicated you are to building projects, whether it is projects or going and visiting companies, conducting surveys, studying more, whether it's researching or whatever it is. Becoming an expert is a vital aspect, because when you are questioned as to what a specific thing is in what you did. So suppose you did a project on Arduino, let's say a simple thing like Arduino, and you used ultrasonic sensors. Now suppose Parthan was to come to you tomorrow and ask you, how exactly did you code the ultrasonic sensors, and how did you increase the efficiency of using ultrasonic sensors? And why didn't you use a different method as such, right? Why didn't you use something like an IR sensor or anything like that? You should have that knowledge to know, or to be capable, to have the capacity of answering him, right? You should be in the capacity to be able to give him a satisfactory answer. If not an amazing answer, a satisfactory answer, so that he'd feel, okay, you know what, this guy knows his shit. I'll get back to my work and I'll let him get back to his work, right? So that's very important. Building important relationships. Again, networking is another vital aspect. Building important relationships. As I said earlier, speaking to your professors. There's so many things you can do. You can just ask your dad about different colleagues he has or friends he has in specific fields that you are interested in. So you can get a better idea by talking to them, and they could connect you more, right? So recently, I was in contact with the head of personal development at Cisco, right? And he had nothing to do with what I was approaching him about. But the fact that I reached out to him and he replied back to me, enabled us to get on a call, and he helped me in the way that he told me he would connect me to the different people that he feel would be helpful to what I wanted, right? Whether it was different resources, whether it was different fundings or whatever, he assured me that for the simple fact that I reached out to him, he assured me that, you know what, I have these contacts, these are my friends, these are my colleagues. I'll put in a word to them and I'll send their email IDs to you. You can go ahead and contact them and they will take care of the rest. Simply because I put myself out there. I put in that extra effort to go and cold mail a bunch of around 10 different people on cold message, 10, hundreds of different people on LinkedIn or whatever it is, and actually got a reply back. You never know. I mean, there's this one thing. All right, that's not for now. But yeah, next is being consistent. Consistency was one of the 8 laws of personal branding by Brian Tracy, right? So consistent. If you do not deliver a good product continuously, no one is going to want your. So in the case of OnePlus, right? Let's take OnePlus. 1+1, 1+2, 1+3, 1+4, 1+5, 1+6, 1+7. They've been consistent with what models they have been giving out. I think so. The 1+5 or something had some issues with it, but then again they regrouped, came together with our thoughts and made sure the 1+6 and the 1+7 were outstanding successes. Simply because they relied on the fact that people are simply not going to buy our stuff if we don't show them that we are consistently improving, consistently upgrading specific parts or keeping up with the new technologies, right? You have to deliver a good product or a good service continuously so that people know that it wasn't just a one-time thing. It wasn't just luck on your side for a one-time thing, that this person actually has the skills to continue to develop whatever he has to develop. Third is knowing, sixth is knowing your true value. Now, people have, as human beings, we generally have the tendency to either overestimate ourselves or underestimate ourselves. And both of them are very dangerous. But underestimating yourselves is not as dangerous as overestimating yourselves. Overconfidence, overestimation, arrogance, all these things come into play. And they can just throw you, and they'll all do nothing other than throw you under the bus when it actually comes to showcasing your skills or whatever it is. Underestimating yourself can be a problem in the sense that you do not go and approach a different opportunity simply because you do not value yourself that much, right? Now, suppose you have done an introductory course in machine learning, right? So now you come and approach one of the seniors and he says, you know what, there's a Kaggle competition online. How would you go and attend that Kaggle competition, test your skills over there? Now you would feel insecure about your skills, even though your senior who has seen your skills and mentored you sort of throughout this entire growth period of yours says you are completely ready for this Kaggle competition. Go ahead and just try it. But you are completely insecure because you have underestimated yourself. So that's one place that underestimating can severely hit on your career path or whatever it is you on your development path, right? Lastly, showing your genuine self, the law of utility of Brian Tracy. You do not want to publicly come across as a nice person and then go behind someone's back and bitch about them and then have that person inform the other person, because that is way too much drama and that is completely unnecessary, I feel, especially in our lives at this point in our time. It is not necessary at all. Be genuine, right? There's nothing that goes on. If you want to be a dick to someone just because it's in your nature to be a dick, be a dick. Be mean to people just because it's in your nature to be mean to people. Do not put up a facade. Whether it is putting up a facade that you know different kinds of skills. Now, I did this in 8th grade and it severely backfired on me, right? I went and told my computer science teacher, ma'am, I know ethical hacking. Now, imagine to her surprise, an 8th grade kid comes up and he tells you he knows ethical hacking. So she was like, okay, fine. Tell me what and all you know in Python. I'd never learned Python. The maximum I knew was Java. So you know what? That facade thing, that entire process is something you do not want to experience, right? So whatever you do, stay humble, right? Stay humble no matter how terrible your situation is, no matter what it is, no matter how low your projects have been or whatever less things that you have done. Be proud that you have done those many things. Stay humble and showcase it to the world. Do not put in something you did not do. Simply because, okay, so let me give another example. when you tell someone that you have done a project which you have not actually done, but you copy or took it off from a friend, or you played merely an advisory role in that project, right? If you go for an interview tomorrow, so what goes on in interviews is these people question you on what projects you have done. If they feel that the project was very interesting, they will question you on that project. And if you have put in a project that you have not done, you are in no capacity or in capability to answer the questions that he poses to you, right? If I suppose I put in a project on my resume saying I've done something regarding regarding photonics, or I've done something in the field of big data frequency and frequency analysis and as such. I do not know anything about those fields. But if I put in a project and tomorrow I go to the interview and the interview dude is like, okay, yeah, this seems cool. How about you tell me a little bit more about the project and how you approached it? Reading my research paper isn't simply going to help me enough, boss. I need to know the fundamental concepts about what goes on behind that project, right? So yeah, that is one very important thing. Be genuine. We are approaching now towards the end of what the webinar is. So now I will be speaking upon different things that you can use to better expose yourself to the outside world, your personal brand. LinkedIn. I'll just show you a sample LinkedIn profile, which I think is one of the most amazing LinkedIn profiles. LinkedIn is the go-to tool for recruiters, investors, venture capitalists, whether you're coming up with a startup or a project. In fact, internships also get in through LinkedIn. They look at, so this is Steve Nuri, and this guy has a superbly amazing LinkedIn profile such that he teaches other people to set up their LinkedIn profile, right? So yeah, you can see he has, maintained everything crisp. He is consistent with his content. He gets shares. His activity, 334,000 followers. His experience is very crisp, to the point, the best of what he has done, his volunteer experience, chairman, his skills, the endorsements he has achieved by different people, and the amazing stuff he has done. So you can, I have a slide at the end of the presentation where all these links will be given, and I'll be sharing this PPT with you guys. You can just check out these different links. So yeah, LinkedIn is one such thing. Next, Twitter. Okay, so the only enemy of yours on Twitter is unnecessary tweets, right? Do not tweet something. Again, this applies to Instagram as well. Do not tweet something that you do not want showing up later date in your life. That's something you would regret. Whether it is using racial slang, whether it is discriminating or giving biased opinions, or anything that can sort of prove you have an inclination towards something that is not accepted by society as a whole, right? That is not generally what sane human beings would do, to be precise, right? And Instagram, again, yeah, this all depends on what content you expose yourselves to, right? This is very important. I cannot stress enough. Follow pages and not people. Your friends are just going to post stories and nothing of much value to you. So other than your close friends, I'd really suggest not following many people. Do not follow people. If you have a crush, go ahead and follow that crush. That's completely irrelevant. But yeah, do not follow people just for the sake of saying, Macha, I have 1,000 followers on Instagram. I follow only 500 people. You see that ratio is there. 1:2 ratio. I'm so cool, bro. No, it does not work like that. You are not cool, dude. Moreover, you should follow pages that sort of give you better insights or keep you updated. And this is something that Steve Nuri himself does. He follows pages. Even Elon Musk did that when he was on Instagram. He followed pages that were, according to his interests, right? Whether it was space tech, Unilad Tech. He never followed Unilad Gaming Bible or whatever it is. He followed Unilad Tech. He followed different tech pages, pages about space travel, space exploration, different governmental organizations, and the recent updates are kept coming regarding space, right? Or if in the case of EVs, right, electronic vehicles, which will be given to us by our guest speaker today. So yeah, there's this concept of leveraging the Insta algorithm or the Twitter algorithms to exposing yourself as to what you want to see and what you want to learn, right? So yeah, make the best use of that. Do not follow nonsense. Offensive me pages, in the sense that if someone were to stumble across your Instagram page and Instagram profile and were public, they would simply take offense. And let me tell you, people are very sensitive nowadays. So fourth, your own website. Setting up your own website is equivalent to putting up an online resume, which people have constant access to. If people have looked through your LinkedIn profile and feel that they want to know more about you, if you have a website of your own set up using either GitHub or any such server, people get a better insight because you cannot fit everything into a one-page resume, right? You cannot fit everything of what you have done in your one-page resume. But if you have a website, you can link multiple pages of what you have done and just elaborate as much as needed, so that people should feel free to dive into whatever content they want to dive into on your website, right? Whether it is finding out about something you did in your childhood, whether it is getting a link to one of your blog posts, whether it is seeing what projects you have done, simply because it gives you more space for elaboration, right? Facebook, some people say Facebook is obsolete nowadays, but no, it is definitely not. Most societies and organizations still use Facebook to this day, simply because there exists a larger reach on Facebook than on Instagram, simply because Facebook was the OG of sorts, where people all started out, and companies still exist on Facebook. Next is creating content and keeping check. Now, I've listed 5 different tools: Medium, Canva, Figma, BuzzSumo, and Google Analytics, all of which help you in one way or another, right? So Medium. Now, as a part of the Icebreaker program, one thing that the OC felt necessary that we employed in the previous Icebreaker program was you guys elaborating more on what your project was. So the concept of personal branding begins right there. If you haven't done anything so far, it begins right there for you, writing a blog post about what your project is, right? So your blog post will go out on Medium, and you will receive tons of likes if you share it across to your friends, and it will just expose it more to the outside world. So if people have a question about your project, they can just come and look at your blog post and say, oh yeah, you know what? They've actually done something related to this project. Canva and Figma, purely for design purposes, I am telling you, they have been very helpful. In fact, the very first slide that Aryan was showing was developed in Canva, where he said, keep your cameras on, or turn on your cameras, else Kiriti will not start the presentation. So yeah, that was something he developed, and it enables you to easily, because these things are very user-friendly. And once you get a good grasp over how to use them and how to how to use different tools on the different sites, you will come to know that appearance and personalization, creativity plays a huge important role when you are presenting things, right? So leveraging Canva and Figma for different personalizations. BuzzSumo and Google Analytics. Now, BuzzSumo is a tool in case you want to be an influencer someday, and I hope that one of you does want to be an influencer. But yeah, if you want to find out what the trend words are in your specific field, or in your specific area, or in our country, or in our continent, BuzzSumo gives you a list of what the trending words are, or trending topics that are being covered by different international influencers, or the area in your home, around your home itself, or in your locality, or whatever it is. Google Analytics is used to identify how many people visit your site, how many people, what kind of outreach your site has had on Google, how many people have looked for your site, how many people have found it, how many people visited it, how many people, rejected the concept of your site and as such.